My dearest brothers and sisters. This is Hakann speaking. I greet you in peace and love. There is a misconception in the light worker community that people who are emotionally feeling good are high vibration and are therefore spiritually advanced, and people who are emotionally feeling bad are in a relatively low vibration and therefore are not very spiritually advanced. It's certainly true that more spiritually advanced people on average tend to be happier. However, this is only true on average. It's not true in all cases. It also doesn't follow that focusing on being happy in the current moment is the best way to or become spiritually advanced. Suppose you have two completely identical people, and in both of them, some old pain surfaces. One of them suppresses that old pain and distracts themselves by focusing on something happy or tuning into high vibration messages or music. The other person instead observes the pain. Then the observing person will in the short term feel less pleasant emotions, and will seem less spiritually advanced to the average onlooker in the short term. However, the person who observes is in reality not less spiritually advanced than the person who distracts themselves. Indeed, observing your pain instead of distracting yourself will lead to more rapid spiritual growth. Admittedly, positive focus, i.e. focusing on something happy, can be a valid coping mechanism, if things are too intense right now and the person doesn't have the energy at that moment to observe their pain. Still, it's also true that a person who feels happy isn't always more spiritually advanced than someone who doesn't. It can even be true that one person who spent 5 years healing some youth trauma and who frequently felt awful during that period, is in fact more spiritually advanced than someone who spent those 5 years distracting themselves and who superficially speaking didn't seem to experience much pain. Even though to an onlooker, it seems that one person was frequently grappling with old pain, and surely that person must be less spiritually advanced than the person who seemed to do fine, right? However, the person who suppressed their pain still has it. It's still there, in the subconscious. Okay, so, there is a not always accurate idea in the light worker community that being happy and experiencing positive emotions and not experiencing negative emotions means that the person is more spiritually advanced. Therefore, Earth light workers have an incentive to try and be happy and feel pleasant emotions in the moment, because then they get the ego boost from being more spiritually advanced. Ego boost sounds very malevolent, but really, ego is something to be integrated and not demonized. If my more or less superior Ashtar Sharon tells me I did a good job, then that gives me an ego boost too, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Still, let's follow the thread of the argument we're building. People have an incentive to try and feel pleasant emotions in the moment, partially because then they get the ego boost that they can tell themselves that they're spiritually advanced. There's also an idea floating around that only high vibration people will either be saved or evacuated or be otherwise able to live in a new love-based society. So this is yet another incentive for people to try and feel pleasant emotions in the moment. As an aside, it's not guaranteed that this scenario will actually unfold. It's possible that a scenario unfolds where the vast majority of people will be able to live in the new love-based society. Even if a scenario unfolds where only a group of people are saved or evacuated or able to live in a new love-based society, then your subconscious and suppressed parts will be weighed too. So observing what comes up will again serve you better than distracting yourself through positive focus. And also, people who are regularly reading or listening to messages such as this one, will most likely make it, because feeling drawn to messages such as this most likely means that you already have a relatively high level of consciousness. Let's get back to listing incentives for people to want to be happy in the current moment. Then there's an idea that if you feel happy you will manifest good things, and if you're unhappy you will manifest bad things. There is a grain of truth to this, but if you suppress negative emotions into your subconscious then you will manifest those undesired things from your subconscious, which again means that observing whatever comes up is best, because once things are observed, possibly a few times, then they are often released automatically. So if you want to manifest, then observe whatever comes up. You don't need to actively go dig for old pain, just observe whatever surfaces, whatever it is. A fourth incentive to wanting to feel good in the moment is that this makes you look spiritually advanced to other people, and that's a big social advantage. People like you more, people respect you more, people listen to you more, it's easier to date or make friends. If you make YouTube videos then you will get more views, and if you sell courses or products then you will make more money. Finally, many light workers have been a very high vibration master in a past life, And feeling good in the current moment feels a bit like home because that's how you felt as a very high vibration master. Therefore, feeling good in the current moment may feel like home. So these are 5 big reasons why people want to be spiritually advanced, which in the minds of many Earth Lightworkers means making sure they feel happy in the current moment. To repeat, these 5 big reasons are: it's an ego boost if you can tell yourself that you're spiritually advanced. People think that only the spiritually advanced will get to live in 5D Earth. People think that they will manifest better things if they are feeling good. It's a social advantage and it feels like home. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to feel pleasant emotions in the current moment. While that's not my highest priority, all else being equal, I would like that too. However, many people take this wish to feel pleasant emotions in the current moment so far that they start suppressing or denying their so-called negative emotions. And that's when it becomes problematic. That's when it starts to slow down your spiritual progression. I would advise not to prioritize the principle of try to feel happy emotions in the current moment over the principle of whatever arises. Observe that, to put our spin on a phrase from Hakann. If something unpleasant feeling comes up, and you have the space and energy to observe it, then from my perspective observing it is more valuable than focusing on something positive. Yes, you can use the coping mechanism of positive focus if you don't have the energy to observe whatever comes up, but that's a coping mechanism. That's not good practice in general. And I would also advise people not to place too high a value on the idea of, if it feels emotionally good, it's good for me. If it feels emotionally bad, it's bad for me. This isn't always accurate. You can blindly trust and follow guidance from your soul, but not from your emotions, and it's much more common for people to feel emotions than to receive guidance from their soul. At least, people who have some amount of distortions and illusions and unhealed pain won't always get accurate guidance from their emotions, and almost every human on earth has some amount of distortions or illusions or unhealed pain. If you feel resistance or hostility towards something, or if you feel triggered, that's your emotions. Your soul isn't in resistance and your soul isn't hostile. If your soul wants you to, for example, not click on a message because the message is misleading, then you will just have a feeling of reading this message doesn't appeal to me. Let's introduce the concept of performative spirituality. Performative spirituality is engaging in a false performance, aimed at convincing yourself or other people that you are more spiritually advanced than you actually are. One example of performative spirituality is pretending that you are doing better than you are doing. Another example is saying I wake up every day with a smile on my face, or I can manifest anything I desire, if that isn't literally true. If this is literally true, then that's not performative spirituality, and it's fine to say that. Performative spirituality can be harmful to the people around you, in the same way that it can be harmful to the people around you if you pretend on Facebook that your life is better than it really is. It can make the people around you feel inadequate and not good enough, even though in reality they may actually be doing fine. It's just that they believe the lie that's presented by performative spirituality and they can't compete with the lie. Performative spirituality usually doesn't look like someone just completely inventing something and blatantly lying. Usually what performative spirituality looks like is that someone pretends that their peak experience or their peak consciousness or their peak level of happiness, which they experienced briefly 1 or 2 times, is their normal everyday experience. Pain or so-called negative emotions or so-called bad actions they take are suppressed or not mentioned. Or the person says that their consciousness is what they would like their consciousness to be, or what they think that their consciousness should be. For example, I always feel grateful, or I enjoy every moment, or I feel amazing every day, or I wake up every day with a smile on my face is performative spirituality, if those statements are not literally true. Of course, if those statements are literally true, then it's fine to say them. Fake it till you make it doesn't work for spirituality. It just leads to suppressed emotions and possibly an increased shadow. It can overinflate your ego. As stated, it can make the people around you feel worse. Perhaps the person doing performative spirituality tells themselves that they are doing this to inspire their audience to greater heights. However, performative spirituality doesn't actually help other people, any more than people posting a fake reality on Facebook helps their friends. If someone tells a story that they used to feel like crap, but now every day is amazing, then that sounds authentic. Right? They admit that they felt badly. But unless it's literally true that today every single day is amazing, then I still consider this to be performative spirituality. This story of my life used to suck, but now I feel amazing can easily be used by a person to boost their own ego or to make a good impression on someone else or to sell a course. However, if the statement is not literally true that now every single day is amazing, then I consider it to be performative spirituality. A statement like every moment is a gift is, in my mind, on the border between okay and performative spirituality. The statement conjures a picture that the person saying that statement experiences every single moment as a gift. It is likely that this is not true. But on the other hand, the statement can be intended as a sharing of a high vibration principle. Indeed, it's true that from a high vibrational perspective, every moment is a gift. Although that principle shouldn't be used to suppress so-called negative emotions if those come up, and that principle shouldn't be used to bulldoze unhappy or suffering parts of yourself. As I said, I consider this statement to be a border case. I think simply being authentic about what your experience and your day-to-day is actually like, is better than doing this kind of performative spirituality. Again, authenticity is one of the most important values in our eyes, so long as it's paired with a bit of common sense. We place authenticity higher than the value of focus on feeling good in the moment to keep your vibration high. We think some people on earth unjustly pedestalize the value of keeping their vibration high by focusing on feeling good in the current moment. If you want to pedestalize a virtue, we suggest pedestalizing authenticity, or pedestalizing the practice of observing whatever comes up. It's also good to occasionally ask yourself why you are feeling a certain thing. For example, if you desire a sports car, then you can ask yourself why, and maybe you'll find out that what you actually desire is love or positive attention or a relationship. If you ask yourself what's under anger, then you may find that underneath is pain or fear. Rather than telling someone you are angry with them, it can actually be far more effective to tell a non-malicious person that you're afraid or that you are in pain. For the people around you, and for your own sake, it's best to not engage in performative spirituality. Just be authentic instead. You can still share the moments where you're feeling great. I would just like to invite you to not pretend that those moments are your moment-to-moment consciousness if they're not. I would like to invite you, if you're sharing, to also occasionally share what's difficult or painful in the present, and not just share what was painful 2 years ago that you've now overcome. Frankly, most people on Earth are suffering right now or are at least experiencing significant challenges. A recent study said 44% of American men are experiencing suicidal thought. So, to anyone on Earth who is struggling, you are not alone. We are with you. You are not somehow flawed or broken. Most people are struggling right now. While yes, ultimately you are responsible for your life, it's simply not the case that 44% of American men just happen to be weirdly broken. It's the system that's broken. This doesn't mean that you should sit on the couch and do nothing. You're still responsible for your life. But if you're struggling, you're not broken. It's the system that sucks. Unfortunately, it doesn't help that people who struggle are almost getting gaslit by people engaging in performative spirituality, such as people who falsely claim that they wake up happy every morning. We think it would psychologically benefit Earth humans if more Earth humans were brave enough to stand up and say that occasionally they are in pain or crying or suffering or engaging in coping mechanisms or whatever it is that they're going through, because then other people can feel that there's nothing wrong with them specifically. We also think it's perhaps not very kind when people spread a message of, I can manifest whatever I want, and so can you if this isn't actually true. There simply doesn't exist a technique that can let an average Earth human, as they are now, manifest whatever they desire. If that technique existed, I would share it, but it doesn't exist. Indeed, if there was some online course on Earth that genuinely allowed an average person to manifest whatever they wanted, without too much work or practice, then that course would spread like wildfire and soon the majority of the world population, including non-spiritual people, would be using that. The reason why this technique doesn't exist is that you can only truly manifest whatever you wish if you are pure or empty, in the sense of being unburdened by illusions or old pain. It also requires aligning your soul, rational mind, emotions and subconscious mind in the same direction. Yes, a person who has achieved these things has great manifestation powers, but the average person on Earth doesn't have the required purity or alignment in order to consistently manifest whatever they want. And it's also not possible to very quickly get an average person to the required level of purity and alignment either, in normal Earth circumstances. If a technique existed to reach the required purity and alignment quickly, I would share it, but it too doesn't exist. Suppose someone asked me to teach them how to manifest anything they wanted, and they were willing to put in the time. Then I would start by asking them to spend years on just growing spiritually in general. There are many spiritual paths, and some paths are more suited to some people, but if you want a suggestion, take a look at my previous message, Hakann, the path of Kriya Yoga. After that I would suggest they try a basic manifestation technique, which is the following. Suppose you want to manifest a romantic relationship. Then first check if you have any pain or resistance to that. One way to do that is to just visualize being alone or growing old alone. If this causes discomfort or so-called negative feelings to surface, then observe those, or use another technique to release those. Repeat this until you have released your pain or resistance related to relationships. This could take a while. You might even need to visit a spiritual healer or psychologist to assist with this. Once you have done that, you can start with what Earth humans might think of the actual manifestation technique. Think about having that thing right now. Visualize it, if you can. Think what it would be like to have that thing right now. Feel the positive emotions that you would feel if you had that thing right now. Don't think about getting that thing in the future, think about having that thing right now, and feel the corresponding emotions. Do this for a few minutes a couple of times. Then go out into the real world and take action towards that thing, in this case for example by putting yourself in situations where you can meet people. Follow your intuition. If you feel a tug to go towards a party, then go, even if normally you don't enjoy parties. Or alternatively, you can first release your pain and resistance, and then use what Tunia called priestly magic. For example, you can release pain and resistance and then say or think one time, "May the following happen in accordance with the highest divine blueprint. I am asking wise and benevolent beings, forces and aspects of existence to give me healing and assist me with this. I am entering into a romantic relationship that is happy and good for me. Thank you, now. After that, go out into the world, and follow the subtle tug of your intuition. If you wish, feel free to try that technique without first spending years on general spiritual growth. It won't hurt, but it also might not work. Probably you will only be able to manifest things if your soul and subconscious and emotions happen to be aligned towards you manifesting that. So for example, if your soul thinks that it's more beneficial for you to be single right now, then most likely you will not manifest a relationship. Let's return to our earlier claim that it's not kind when people spread the message that they can manifest anything they want, if that's not true. Now, there is a small probability that they are telling you the truth and they are a genuine spiritual master. But if this is genuinely true, then why aren't they out there manifesting hospitals and orphanages for poor regions? Why aren't they offering their manifestation services or teachings to whoever needs some help, for free? Because surely a master manifester doesn't lack money. This is a serious question. If they can genuinely manifest whatever they want, then why aren't they doing this? I'm not opposed to people asking money for most spiritual courses. However, anyone who asks money for specifically a manifestation course can't be a master manifester in my eyes, because master manifestors don't lack money. Now sure, if someone says they're just okay at manifesting, then it's not wrong if they ask money for their course. However, if someone claims that they can manifest anything, then they should be able to manifest money at will, so why put up a financial gate that stops people from learning their amazing technique? What's more likely is that they are able to manifest some things, but only if those things are something that they happen to have no emotional or subconscious resistance to, and their soul and subconscious and emotions happen to approve of them manifesting that thing. Most people who claim that they can manifest things fall into this category. But the thing is that these people don't know how to manifest things that they do have emotional or subconscious resistance to, or things that their soul doesn't want them to manifest. Therefore we think they shouldn't claim that they can manifest anything they want, or that they can teach others how to do that. Another claim that is often made is I manifested my dream life. Well, it's great that you manifested that, I'm genuinely happy for you. Although I don't think this necessarily proves that you can manifest anything you want. Maybe your manifestation technique played a role, but to what extent was this just hard work and getting a bit lucky? So I manifested my dream life doesn't automatically qualify someone to teach a manifestation course, in my mind. I manifested my dream life doesn't even automatically prove in my mind that the person is qualified to teach a course on how to build your own dream life. Maybe the successful person is smarter, or healthier, or has better connections, or has more starting capital, or has a supportive partner, or is luckier than the average person, and therefore they succeed while the average person may not be able to. Even just pretty privilege is a huge factor. Have you ever noticed that many of the most popular spiritual influencers, especially among youngish people, tend to be physically attractive people, who often have a pleasant voice to listen to? Even though prettiness and the pleasantness of someone's voice have little to do with their spirituality. There aren't many unattractive people with unpleasant voices out there who are attracting a large spiritual audience in 2023. And this also means that if someone is physically attractive or has a pleasant voice to listen to, then they should keep in mind that succeeding is much more difficult for those people who don't have that advantage. Pretty privilege is real. So please think twice before making a claim that you can manifest anything, or that you are able to teach others how to manifest anything. Yes, it's theoretically possible to be a person who can manifest just about anything, but that doesn't mean that a technique exists that allows an average Earth person to do that. As the last example today of performative spirituality, let's discuss twin flames and soulmates. Different people use different definitions of those words. I will define a soulmate as someone with whom you've had positive interactions within a past life. Because of this, you may feel like you've always known this other person. Interacting with them may feel familiar. They may feel like home. A twin flame is the one unique person who completes you, not in one area but in literally all areas. Twin flames in a relationship will effortlessly pull each other towards a balanced, happy state, without trying. These relationships are blissful and effortless, and they are also genuinely good for both people involved. If you are with a twin flame partner, you may very well be surprised just how perfect they are for you, not just during the honeymoon part of the relationship, but even after that. Most relationships involve some amount of "well, I don't love this character trait or habit they have, but I can tolerate it." However, twin flame relationships don't have any of that. They're just perfect for you. It has become popular for people to claim that they are with their twin flame. In reality, the number of Earth-human twin flame couples is only in the hundreds. There are only very few Earth-human twin flames together. Only about 2% of Earth humans have a twin flame who is currently physically incarnated as another Earth human at all. And some of those people are on opposite ends of the planet and are not likely to meet. Indeed, back when the Dark Controllers had some amount of influence over where people reincarnated, they don't anymore. They tried to make sure that twin flames reincarnated far apart from each other. What happens unfortunately often for Earth humans who genuinely get together with their twin flame, is that they first spend some time together in bliss. Then they both start living their highest purpose. And then they become a threat to the Dark Controllers, either energetically or because they're such an example to others or because of their highest purpose life they're living. And then the Dark Controllers assassinate one or both of them. Most people who claim they are with their twin flame, aren't. Then, are you with a soulmate? Well, does it feel like you've known this person for a long time? If yes, maybe this person is a soulmate. However, keep in mind that most people have hundreds or even thousands of soulmates walking across the planet right now, so being with one isn't that special. A soulmate is just someone who you've had positive interactions with in a past life, but that doesn't guarantee that you two will be a good match for a relationship in this life. The channeler is a heterosexual man and he is aware of having met 4 soulmates in his life. He's met more, but he's aware of having met 4 of them. 2 of them were men, and neither he nor the men had a desire to date each other. And 2 were single women, but those women simply weren't good relationship matches for him in his current life. The relationships the channeler has had were all with women who were neither twin flames nor soulmates of his. Most people who are in a relationship today are with neither a twin flame nor a soulmate. And soulmates are less unique than Earth humans typically think they are, and also being with a soulmate doesn't guarantee a happy relationship. That said, you can have an absolutely wonderful relationship with a person who is neither a twin flame nor a soulmate to you. In other words, maybe your partner is neither your twin flame nor your soulmate, and you two still have an amazing relationship. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, having a happy relationship is fantastic. You don't need to claim to be with a twin flame in order to have a beautiful relationship. So, we have looked at a number of examples of performative spirituality. At the same time, we also recognize that being on Earth right now is really tough. A lot of people feel alone and unseen, and sometimes then there's a temptation to engage in a little performative spirituality, presenting yourself or your circumstances as better than they are, and then you get something that's vaguely adjacent to love. And many people on Earth right now want some love. However, ultimately being loved for what you are not, isn't a very fulfilling strategy. It may also make the people around you feel inadequate. And then we're back at the old problem where many people are in pain because many people are using strategies that make them feel better at the expense of others. Finally, thank you so much for being on Earth and doing your work. This process truly would not be possible without you. In a way it's unfair. Your loved ones may think you've gone crazy, big tech may be trying to censor you, your government is certainly trying to control you. While us galactics genuinely are helping you in subtle ways, it's also true that many of you are lonely or have financial problems or health problems, and at this point in time we're not directly helping you yet with those issues. You've heard for years that white hats are coming to save you any day now, but where are they? So this situation is unfair to you. I acknowledge that. I'm sorry. However, you also are the strongest of the strong, and that's why I know that you can be the light beers, who help uplift an entire planet into the light. And indeed, you are already in the process of doing that. So many beings are sending you love and light and subtle help. They are cheering you on. You are loved and respected, and when we galactics finally land, you will have a place of honor among us, for truly being beacons of light even on a planet of darkness. And contrary to how it may look, Earth's ascension process genuinely is going well. You will be free. With love. Your star brother, Hakann.